This is a video showing the solar charging system on my 25-foot sailboat SV Jonathan. It covers the wiring diagram, the solar charging control system and the solar panel mount. This is the wiring diagram for the system. The first thing you have is a blue outline. Everything inside the blue outline is the wiring for the control panel. On the top left hand side you can see the solar panel. It has a plug and then feeds into the control panel. On the bottom left hand side you have battery number 1, which feeds into the panel, and on the bottom right hand side you have battery number 2. In the middle you have a legend of the fuse, the push buttons, the plugs, and the outline of the control panel. This is showing the active and negative feed from the solar panel into a plug, then into a fuse, and then into the solar controller, which is in the actual solar controller switchboard panel. Here at the where the lines from the solar panel go into the controller, you can see there's two lines that tap off that and run down to the center voltmeter, which gives you the line of the power actually going into the controller from the voltmeter from the solar panel. You can rotate the solar panel looking at this voltmeter and then get your best output from your solar panel angle and direction. In this part of the diagram you can see the selector switch. Into the right hand side is the power coming from the controller. Leaving the left hand side, leaving the bottom is the power going down to battery number 1. Leaving the right hand side is the power going to number 2, and you'll see two lighter lines which pick up the voltage there and take it down to the voltmeters for battery number 1 and battery number 2. Again, this is the lines leading from the selector switch and also showing the push switches. Battery number 1 and battery number 2 voltmeters have little push switches that click on to show you voltage when you want. You can leave them on all the time to show you voltage, or you can switch them off if the lights annoy you. These are the basic components as they arrive. From the right hand side is a toggle switch. In the middle there's 3 digital voltmeters with their wires on them. Next to them are 5 little black and green push switches, and on the right hand side is the control panel. This is just a very cheap system. I think all these components altogether cost me $30. This is the control panel, and the top, the blue box, is the controller. Under the blue box is the fuse for the solar panel. Below the fuse is the voltmeter for the solar panel, and below the voltmeter is a left-right switch. It's left on, center off, right on. On the left hand side you can see the voltmeter and a push button switch for the battery number 1, and on the right hand side you can see the voltmeter and the push button switch for battery number 2. If you flick the center switch to the left, the solar panel will charge battery number 1. If you switch the toggle switch to the right, the solar panel will charge battery number 2, and in the center it's not charging anything. This is the back of the control panel before the wires were tidied up. This is just to put it all together to find out if it works. From the left hand side you have the feed going in and out of the controller. The black circle is the fuses. Then you have the 3 voltmeters. Below that you have the 2 push button switches and the toggle switch in the middle. All the joints are soldered in. Quite easy to do. Here you have the solar panel, the solar controller mounted on the boat. You can see there's 21 volts coming in from the solar panel into the controller here. The selector switch is still in the middle. On the left hand side you can see there's 12.1 volts, or 12.7 volts, I can't see it now, in the start battery, and 21 volts coming in from the solar panel. The selector switch has been flicked across to the left hand side. You can see the voltage has dropped down to 13.1. This is what's coming out of the controller and going into the battery, and you can see the battery voltage there on the left hand side. The selector switch is still flicked over to the start battery on the left hand side, but I've pushed in the push button switch for battery 2 voltage meter, and you can see there's 12.6 in battery 2. Both my batteries are not in super good condition, but they stay around 12.6. Here you can see the panel is just on a couple of little aluminium angles that hangs at the end of the seat in the nav area. The little white tray at the bottom of the panel, you can see the controller has 2 USB ports, and that little white tray is to drop your mobile phone in, and then plug it in the USB ports to keep your mobile phone charged. I run a tablet, really cheap tablet, and mobile phone on longer charging lines, and just put them on the nav table when I'm sailing. Here's a rundown of the installation of the solar charging system on my boat Jonathan. You can see now the solar panel mount. I'll give you a rundown of the solar panel mount. There's only a 20 watt solar panel. It's very light. It was a flexible, semi-flexible solar panel that I bought, I think $32 or something like that. So this whole kit probably cost me about $70 all up. 20 watts is very, very small, but this is just to keep the batteries charged up when I'm not on the boat. The whole mounting system is PVC water pipe. You can see a wooden handle there. At this stage all I did is have like a podger with lining up holes, and I just plunged the podger in. At the moment now I've got a more permanent fixture on it. I'll show you later on. The main vertical component, its size, I think it's about 30 millimeter to go over the horizontal and the vertical frame of the push-put. The push-put is 27 millimeters in diameter, so I drilled a 27 millimeter hole saw and then cut a length of the groove so that will slide over where the top of the cut is where it will rest on the vertical section of the push-put. With a circular saw, I cut out 2 discs from cutting board, the interior diameter of the vertical support. Then I cut a 27 millimeter hole on the inside of those discs, and then cut the discs in half. Cut a little bit more than half out of the discs so they don't actually meet each other when they're clamped closed. One of the discs as it's fitted to the vertical support. Both discs fitted to the vertical support. These are the basic components of the solar panel support. Down the bottom you have the vertical support, you have a reducer, you have a T-section, and then a horizontal section. The bottom of the T-section was filed down so it fit inside the reducer, and the pipe that actually goes into the reducer was also filed down so it could actually it's a very, very tight fit. It's meant as a water pipe, so it was filed down so it could actually swivel or rotate on that reducer. Made a frame for the panel out of some aluminium It's like E frame. It's like a window frame. All of this stuff was just scrounged. There's the frame for the solar panel with two saddles to support the horizontals of the PVC pipe. This is the unit almost completely together. There's two white PVC saddles on there now, but the finish unit had four. They only cost 45 cents each, so I thought I'd splurge and put four on. This is the unit fitted to the boat. You pull the podger out from down the bottom, the wooden ham podger, and you can rotate the whole thing 360 degrees. It has hole locations every 15 degrees, so you've got all the rotation around there. The two lines, the two little black lines you see coming in from the left and right, go through the PVC pipe and come out and have little plastic stoppers, so you can loosen them and then put the panel on any plane from horizontal to vertical, and then just pull the lines tight and close the little clips, and it'll stay there. I've had it out in very strong wind and it does stay there. This is how I eventually secured the rotating panel mount onto the mounting mask. There's a 6mm stainless steel all thread with a wing nut epoxied on the one end, and a rubber wing nut which is used to tighten up on the other end. Here you can see the vertical pipe that goes from the bottom of the frame all the way to the deck. It clips over the horizontal stern rail, and then where those two white discs, I've got stainless steel hose clips that go around those two white dips, and then they're taped up to with electrical tape to cover the tape, and it's pretty well rock solid. If you want to remove the solar panel, you just pull out the podger, lift the whole thing off, unplug the wire. The wire goes in under the cockpit seat, and there's a plug under the cockpit seat where it connects to the lead that goes into the control panel.